The experiences shared by Sir Arnold and Sir Arvin represents both challenges and opportunities faced by social studies teachers in teaching history in the new normal. One primary problem is finding the balance between teaching discipline-related content and finding the right instructional strategy. The following are teaching approaches recommended based on studies that may help teachers make history alive in online distance learning. A number of literature and studies reveal that using primary sources written by original historians enhances the learning process for students. Teachers can start incorporating digital primary sources in teaching history online. The Smithsonian defines primary sources as first-hand, original accounts, records, or evidence about a person, place, object, or event. Oral histories, objects, photographs, and documents such as newspapers, ledgers, census records, diaries, journals, and inventories are considered primary sources. The study of Waring and Torres in 2010 revealed that using primary sources enhances content understanding for students. Exposing students to primary sources allows them to challenge their beliefs and assumptions, making them involved in the process of historical inquiry. Primary sources provide students an avenue to see historical events in different perspectives. It familiarizes students with skills on how to research about people and events in history using digital tools. But apart from exposing students to primary sources, it is important that social studies teachers must be equipped with the skills in detecting what is valid historical material from what is not. The study of Cogwell and Waring in 2017 revealed that despite a constant push to transform the classroom into a place where teachers and students alike can thoughtfully analyze primary documents, there is still a lack of ability and or desire of teachers to engage in these very complex activities. The use of primary sources does not equate automatically to authentic historical thinking. Its lack of ability should be used to improve teacher professional development programs and help them to develop the skills needed not only to engage in historical evaluation themselves, but also to develop skills that will allow them to instruct students to do the same. Building authentic assessments is necessary to engage students. Another approach or strategy that history and social studies teachers can use is digital storytelling. The study of Peñalba, Samaniego, and Romero in 2020 among students of readings in Philippine history revealed that digital storytelling offers an opportunity for students to utilize historical evidence and assess its credibility. The findings suggest that students can be critical of selecting and examining historical sources, especially when they are tasked with a digital storytelling project that allows them to maximize their knowledge and skills. Findings suggest specific courses of action for integrating technology in a history classroom, specifically in the context of digital stories. First, instructors can introduce technology tools that have user-friendly features to allow them to experience ease in creating their own audiovisual outputs. Second, during the research phase, they can expose students to the use of open-source educational materials, giving them access to more primary and secondary sources. The National Library of the Philippines, for instance, has a digital collection of books, periodicals, government reports, and other reference materials on Philippines history in which students can navigate easily to download credible sources. Students should then be required to assess the quality of evidence they can obtain from open source content. Third, during the script writing and storyboarding phases, teachers can ask students to do collaborative writing online. Lastly, teachers can require the students to upload their outputs to video sharing platforms such as YouTube and Facebook. It is recommended that guidelines on publishing videos be strictly observed to avoid copyright issues. The concept of teaching history through the writing process is not new. University history faculty have advocated for the writing process since 1990. The study of Carter extends these arguments by drawing from 20 years of combined experience teaching writing in the composition and rhetoric and history classrooms to offer 4 recommendations for how teachers might teach history through the writing process. First, through daily or weekly process writing, also called informal writing or low stakes writing, to help students process their learning and questions. Second, through metacognitive writing assignments that ask students to reflect on their learning. Third, through faculty's primary grading emphasis on students' content rather than their grammar. And fourth, through grade distribution. This study revealed the process of writing is an essential pedagogical component that history teachers can use to help students take ownership of their education, learn to express their own unique voices and perspectives, to explain complex ideas. Students need to write early and often to develop critical thinking skills, retain course content, and engage thoughtfully with troubling and controversial subjects. Students who engage in process writing develop a sense of intellectual grit, the ability to grasp multiple, often competing points of view, and exercise their individual agency to become self-directed, lifelong learners. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, incorporating process writing and metacognition into history classroom does not mean that grading writing needs to be laborious and exhausting. Now more than ever, localization and indigenization of learning content is essential. Another approach that teachers can utilize is the contextualized teaching and learning approach. According to Perrin, CTL approach can strengthen the links between the learning environment and community. CTL approach is an instructional approach designed to connect the basic skills of occupational content by focusing directly on concrete application in a specific context such as localization and indigenization. The study conducted by Lorbis in 2019 revealed that contextualized teaching and learning approach helps students master the competencies of Araling Panlipunan. Now put in the context of teaching history, teachers can utilize local historical sources and present historical facts based on indigenized approach to teaching. Lastly, history teachers can employ design-based research approach to cater to the needs of the 21st century learners. The study of Segoa and Nambi in 2020 suggests that design principles and guidelines help students and teachers restore interest in history teaching and learning, while simultaneously guiding and interpreting the human past. A major outcome of the research was the development of 5 major design principles and guidelines for teaching history, which involves connecting with the present, appreciating heritage, dialogue in history, doing history, and validating history. Connecting to the present. In connecting to the present, A history teacher or educator should first find out if every student has access to computer devices and the internet. This could be achieved through sending out a survey to find out which type of access learners have in their particular context. Students' participation in play is very important as it motivates and arouses their interest to stay online. The principle of connecting to the present is vital as it implies students to participate in interpreting history as they need to be equipped with information literacy skills to afford access to internet tools and internet connectivity. Appreciating heritage. In appreciating heritage, the history educator or teacher encourages students to introduce themselves and share something about their family history that interests them. The rationale behind appreciating heritage is to ensure that students feel part of history and identify with the past through sharing their cultural history. Correspondingly, appreciating heritage affords students development of 21st century skills such as historical thinking and historical consciousness based on evidence from multiple sources of the past. This is relevant as it allows students to express how they understand the past from the inferences they make and from the sources that they were able to gain. This allows them to become more aware of their orientation and historical time. Validating history. In validating history, the role of the educator is to scaffold the learning process by tasking students to read a variety of history texts while taking into consideration of the author's intentions, context, and time in which the texts were written and share this information mediated on the wiki. In congruence with this theme, Carrasco, Martinez, Fontal, and Xperia in 2020 assert that history education should be absolutely aimed at helping students explore and interpret multiple perspectives about the past, stimulate students' historical thinking, and enable acquisition of historical knowledge. Indeed, the teacher's role at this step is to scaffold and respond to questions, supplement students' responses, and motivate learners by providing feedback. Dialogue in history is informed by historical hermeneutics, constructive dialogue. Through open questioning and responses with educator, students, and course content. Therefore, under this principle, students engage in dialogue and make meaning to the history content shared by asking for clarifications and questioning that form conversations between the past and present as mediated by doing history. In doing history, students collaboratively interpret and attach meaning to the past by using wiki as mediating history might be achieved through active engagement in making sense of images, videos, pictures, and texts obtained from the past. Reflecting on these 6 recommendations, teachers can be equipped with skills necessary to deliver quality teaching even in remote learning setup.